London today is not only bathed in bright sunlight, there is another feeling secretly seeping into the air: disappointment, a sense of betrayal. People are demanding accountability. Outside the gates of Downing Street, the Union Jack flag is not flying to celebrate but to oppose. The crowd is growing larger, calling for something that just a year ago few people believed was possible. Prime Minister Keir Starmer must resign immediately. If this is the mature politics he once promised, then it seems the adults left the room long ago. Now the people are rising up to protest. Applause. We must surround applause the political career of Keir Starmer. That career is like an endless PowerPoint presentation, slick and smooth on the outside, but empty on the inside. Wrapped in the trappings of leadership, he campaigned as if he were a principled man, the voice of the people. But as he assumed power, his true face was revealed. A technocrat in a carefully tailored suit, running the country with the mindset of an office manager at a time when Britain needs a visionary to lead through a crisis. He has all the charisma of a tax return and a morality as soggy as a box of cereal left out overnight. Remember that this is Keir Starmer, the man who rose to the leadership of the Labour Party by flying the flag of Corbyn-style populism, only to disregard it and burn it as soon as the flag was no longer useful to him. He has destroyed the soul of the Labour Party, replacing it with bland centrism, a politics as appealing as cold mashed potatoes. People praise his competence, but what exactly is that competence? Unclear, long-winded and empty of substance. He is the political equivalent of an email you don't want to open. He speaks of unity but only delivers division. He promises hope but only repackages boring liberalism. So far, his only legacy is being the architect of the most boring era in Labour Party history. The crowd gathering outside Downing Street are not extremists. They are nurses. Veterans, students, small business owners and ordinary people. They have all become accustomed to a government that is a laughingstock. They are flying flags not out of national pride but out of desperation. They see their country in the hands of a man who is insensitive, unwilling to make decisions and completely indifferent to the real-world consequences of his policies. Speaking of policies, if you can call them that, Starmer's programme is as malleable as a child's lump of slime. One moment he is tough on immigration, the next he is pro-business, then suddenly he is talking about social justice. The only consistent thing about him is his inconsistency. His style of governance is not built on principle, but is instead an awkward political performance, a joke. And don't forget his cold indifference to those who voted him into his current role. He avoids the press whenever things get awkward, giving evasive answers that would embarrass a used car salesman, and surrounds himself with advisors who might as well have been printed from a neo-liberal template. Far from being inspiring, he is a burden. Even within his own party, there is a sense of fatigue with this kind of leadership. Labour MPs are also whispering behind closed doors. The public knows what everyone is thinking. Starmer is dragging the entire party into an abyss of mediocrity. His obsession with form over substance has turned the Labour Party into an empty brand, no longer a movement, no longer representing ideals, but a product sold to a fictional target voter. So it is no surprise that the patient and polite British public has finally had enough. The peaceful protest outside number 10 Downing Street is just the beginning. What was once a silent frustration has become a demand for justice. While Starmer hides behind polished press conferences and hollow sound bites, the public is beginning to speak clearly, directly, and without fear of censorship. It seems Starmer has underestimated the depth of public anger. His carefully constructed image for BBC appearances and social media clips cannot hold back the flood of reality, real pain and real demands from society. The truth is now clear. Britain did not elect Starmer to lead. They are begging him to leave. And if he cannot hear them now, he will have to hear them soon, because the British people are rising up. This time, they will not be silenced by empty excuses. Switching to other important news, something is very wrong inside one of the most secure prisons in England. A child killer responsible for one of the most shocking massacres in the country's modern history, currently serving a life sentence, is now at the centre of deeply disturbing new allegations. Despite being under close supervision, he is said to be making deadly threats And these are not ordinary threatening words. What is happening behind the concrete walls and layers of intricate security has even veteran prison officers fearing for their lives. The most frightening part is that he shows absolutely no sign of stopping. This is a terrifying picture from inside Belmarsh prison, where every notion of justice, security and the rule of law meant to protect the public is now being seriously questioned. Let's look at what happened. The name Axel Rudder-Cabana is now linked to one of the most brutal recent crimes, the massacre of 3 children at a children's event in Southport. Yet what worries people is that even after being locked up, the danger he poses has not ended. Sources inside Belmarsh, bluntly called Hellmarsh by many, have revealed that Rudder-Cabana continues to spread fear, not only among other inmates, but also among the prison staff themselves. Recently, the triple murderer was accused of threatening to seriously injure or kill prison officers, warnings that the authorities are taking extremely seriously. Now 18 years old, Rudder-Cabana is serving a minimum term of 52 years for the murders of 6-year-old Biking, 7-year-old Elcido Stangham and 9-year-old Aletista Silva Agua. All 3 were stabbed to death in a targeted attack at a Taylor Swift-themed children's disco last July. The entire nation was shaken by the incident, which revealed multiple failures in child protection, education and the police system. However, anyone who thought imprisoning him would end the threat was terribly naive. Earlier this year, he was accused of throwing boiling water at a prison officer, an attack that left the victim screaming in pain and forced his colleagues to immediately intervene. Since then, he has been placed under one of the strictest regimes in the entire English prison system. According to sources, whenever he is taken out of his cell, he must be accompanied by at least 5 prison officers in riot gear, a measure that is extremely rare even for high-risk inmates. He is also completely banned from accessing digital devices, cannot receive education, cannot use a computer, and cannot even order from the canteen. Prison staff say this is the only way to prevent him from continuing to threaten or harm others. A member of staff told his son bluntly that Rudder-Cabana is pure evil. And despite having attacked others, he continues to issue constant threats. According to this source, prison officers worry he could repeat his violent behaviour at any time because he has nothing left to lose. The threats he shouts, including phrases like, "I will kill you and I will destroy your face," along with repeated cries of Allahu Akbar, are considered a deliberate tactic to intimidate and provoke. These threats have been officially recorded in internal reports, contributing to Rudder-Cabana's classification as one of the most dangerous prisoners in the country. Even more shocking, he is currently being held in the same unit as Amadei Abedi, a convicted terrorist and brother of the Manchester Arena bomber. Abedi is notorious for scalding officers with hot oil and carrying out attacks with makeshift knives. The fact that 2 of the most dangerous prisoners in England are held in the same area has raised serious concerns about staff safety and the effectiveness of security measures. Belmarsh Prison already has a reputation as a violent place. In the 12 months to June 2024, the latest figures show there were 103 assaults on staff, 11 of which were classified as serious. Tensions inside the prison are constantly rising, and the presence of unstable inmates like Rudder-Cabana only makes things worse. This new wave of threats comes as the public inquiry into the Southport massacre reveals other serious failures. The inquiry chairman, Sir Adrian Fulford, has stated that this was not a random tragedy, but the result of systemic failure. This includes Rudder-Cabana's repeated access to violent online content, his ability to easily purchase knives online, and a lack of responsible supervision, all of which allowed him to leave home and commit his crime unimpeded. Sir Fulford described him as someone with a clear and serious propensity for knife violence. Warnings about him were ignored or downplayed until it was too late. Now, while prison officers struggle to contain the continuing threat, the British criminal justice system faces a bitter reality. Axel Rudder-Cabana should have been closely supervised long before the massacre happened. And even now, despite being sentenced, he remains a real danger. For the families of the victims, the pain has not faded. And for those tasked with guarding him, every day brings a new risk, facing a man who has nothing left to lose and no intention of changing. What do you think about what we've discussed in today's video? Let me know in the comments section below.